Just 70 years ago in this land of the Korean Peninsula, there were veterans who sacrificed their lives against those who threatened to take away peace from our homeland. Shailene Sabino is from the U.S., and she is a freelance model in Korea and recently appeared in a TV drama. She came to know Korea thanks to her grandfather, a veteran of the Korean War 70 years ago.
My grandfather had a few photos that he had taken while he was in South Korea during the war. Landscapes, so mountains and forests. Some photos from the winter as well. It seemed the winters here were very harsh. I was really surprised when I first came to Korea because the photos my grandfather had shown me from 1950, 1953 were really different from the current situation in Korea. Very developed and modernized, and everything here is so amazing and technology is really great. So very, very different from what I was expecting.
3 years ago, she completed her studies as an American exchange student on a scholarship program for descendants of Korean War veterans and returned to America. She is back to Korea because she missed the country so much.
I've done a lot of lookbooks and Fashion Week shows, and my dream right now is just to become an actress.
The granddaughter of a young American who fought in the Korean War 70 years ago is now dreaming her own dream in the very same land. The Youth Peace and Vision Camps are held every year, bringing more than 100 Korean students and the descendants of UN Korean War veterans in one place to pay tribute to the Korean War veterans and honor the memory of those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. Even though they are from different nations and speak different tongues, they build trust and deepen their friendship in the name of peace and vision. Kwon Ju-eun, a Korean university student, says the peace camp she applied to make foreign friends marked a turning point in her life. She continues friendship by sharing her daily lives through social media. This past February, Ju-eun joined a group of Korean students for the Vision Camp to visit and meet New Zealand veterans of the Korean War.
A veteran came up to me and showed me a picture taken in Korea when he was in the war. And I felt like I was looking at the moment of history, and I finally found that it was such an honor to be able to hear the stories of Korean War from them.
The Korean War seemed like ancient history to her before, but she realized that the history still lives with us.
Actually, before the camp, I thought of June 25th as one of the 365 days that come back every year, a little special day. But during the camp, I thought I met a lot of participants who were so proud of their grandfather who was a veteran. Seeing that as a Korean and as a descendant, I reflected on myself a lot that I was too indifferent.
2018 Peace Camp participant and a descendant of Turkish veteran, Defne Anet Esen Karabenli, has a special story to tell.
So there was something really special that happened while the Korean War to my grandfather, is that when he was fighting, he met my grandfather and they became friends, they fight together, and my grandfather wanted my grandfather to meet my grandmother, and like that they met and they got married because of the Korean War.
Defne came to Korea thanks to her grandparents' special relationship during the Korean War. After taking part in the peace camp, Defne is proud of her grandfather more than ever.
When I participated to the peace camp, I think the best thing was to hear other grandfather stories, because I didn't know other people than me had a grandfather who did the Korean War. So when I met other people from a lot of countries, it was really interesting.
Daryl Joseph Dalayoan came to Korea from the Philippines thanks to the Peace Camp, an exchange program for the descendants of Korean War veterans he took part in 8 years ago.
To all of my brothers and sisters, I hope you you'd learn a lot from them, and then make sure if your grandfather is still alive, thank them, and thank them for going, because they probably don't know that millions of people here in Korea are thanking them. So once you come home after the peace camp, tell them that, you know what, Grandpa, tell them thank you for your sacrifice.
In 2020, the world is at war with COVID-19. The government of Korea provided letters and masks to the UN Korean War veterans in the 22 countries who showed great bravery 70 years ago.
Our hearts were touched greatly by the South Korean government. I am truly grateful, and will be.
70 years have passed since the historic event took place, but our beautiful bonds forged in the painful war remain to this very day. Although our nationalities and languages are different, we communicate with each other based on our special bonds.
For me, Korea is like my home. Basically, it's my second home because every time I go back to my country or I go to another country, I miss Korea. I miss everything about Korea. So I think it's just my home.
Our beautiful friendship forged in peace will be a cornerstone of building world peace. Our ties started in the past. Now and in the far future, we will always be friends.